Hello everyone, how's it going? Tonight I'm going to show you guys some of the tools that I use in this aquarium trade and hobby for like my whole fish room and everything. So let's go ahead and get started. Also, I wanted to talk to you guys about the quality. For some reason it's only coming up as 48p after I upload. That's not what my phone shoots, but whatever. I'm going to work on that, try to get you guys better quality. Okay. That aside, on to the show. Let's start this thing. Glad to see you guys in here. Alright, so you guys can ask questions and all that stuff since I got you guys live here. First off, this isn't really a tool so much, it's more of a water conditioner. I was going to do that with the medicines. I plan on doing a show for you guys with the medicines, but I did want to add this because dechlor is very important. Now, a lot of people use prime. This is what I use. It's wet coat dechlor. It's really easy to use. It's 1 per gallon for chlorine, 2 drops per gallon for chloramine, and you can buy these huge jugs, and this is the main reason why I use it too. Let's see, 1 gallon, there's full bottle treats up to 61,000 gallons or 30,000 gallons for chloramine. So that's a lot of water. I rarely go through these, and they're pretty cheap. I think they're like 30 some bucks, so it's like a lifetime supply of conditioner. Alright, so the next thing I got here is a baby monitor. I use this for water changes. It's actually hooked up upstairs. I've been spying on my son while I was down here doing shipments and taping boxes and stuff, so it's handy for that too. But I use that for water changes, and I also use this for water changes, which this is made for blind people, for when they want to fill up cups of coffee and water and whatnot. I hang it up on the edge of a tank like that, and if I'm changing water and it overflows, it'll alarm me. And then I've got the baby monitor to also help me. And these are the CW49s you guys were wanting to see yesterday. They've come out. I got a pair in there, and then I've got a pair in the other tank. But yeah, that's very handy because I used to flood tanks all the time. Now not so much anymore. And also, the one and only TDS meter, the most important tool. Every aquarium hobbyist needs one of these. This is the most important. This is more important than pH. This is more important than ammonia strips. This is what you want to know. This will tell you what kind of water you're working with. Test your tap water, you get a baseline, you know what will best suit your tap water. And if you want something that doesn't go with your tap water, even though I recommend trying to stick with what works with your tap water just to keep things simple, you will know how to adjust and stuff with that by having your parameters. Reason why I recommend using your tap water and keeping with it is because the more you try to mess with your water and hit parameters and stuff, the more chance you have of screwing things up and losing something you like. How often do you test your TDS? It depends. I don't test very often. I mostly use it for my RO water when I'm mixing it for my soft water tanks. And then once in a while I'll test the tap water. Most of these tanks are hard water, and they usually tend to stay around the 300-400 range. So I mean, as long as I'm in that range, within 100 parts per million, I'm good, so I don't worry about it too much. But I do test maybe once a month or so. And then if I really want to know the GH, KH, and kind of what's in the TDS, I'll use these 6-in-1 strips, but I rarely use them. I don't use them often. But it is kind of good to have. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to know your kinetic hardness and GH. Nitrates and all that. But I don't usually mess with that too much, but I did add that to there because I do use it once in a while. What did we see? We missed the Lucas vids, Dank says. I'm not sure what you mean about that, Dank. I have very soft water, tap water at 3530 TDS but has pH high 7s. What shrimp would you recommend, says you chilled. Tigers would probably do pretty good. Crystals, any of them, you're at 25 and 30 parts per million. You're going to want to raise your TDS. Now, the main thing you need in that is the calcium. Let's see, they have some boosters. I don't usually use this stuff since my water has a lot of calcium in it. So this could be a tool somebody else would use if they got soft water for like their shrimp. But this is SL Blue Wizard, and pretty much what's in it, it's all in Chinese. I know it's got American writing here somewhere. But it has a lot of calcium in it. See, people use it for arowanas, goldfish. Where's it at? Calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, and trace elements. But that's kind of like one of the conditioners. I got this Disco B. Eric Martins gave that to me at the Aquatic Experience. And yeah, cuttle bones will work. Eggshells will work. Texas Holy Rock. Crushed coral is probably the best. Would that push up the TDS calcium? Now it may not. The crushed coral may not push up the calcium or the TDS right away, but the shrimp can still graze on the crushed coral. So if you add this stuff, I would definitely recommend putting it in the tank so the shrimp can actually graze on it. Because I'm planning on starting a shrimp tank. Been a while. How many shrimp would you recommend? Okay, the questions for like shrimp and recommendations, stuff like that. Tomorrow I will be doing a live stream at on Friday. Tomorrow, every Friday, 9:30s. I'll have Q&A, so you guys can ask all those questions you want, and I'll answer all those. So try to be in on that. And if you're not able to get onto that live stream, my normal Q&As that I do every week, hit the comment or tell me down in the comments below of a video, and I try to hit every single one of the questions down there. So if you want a question answered about that, let's try to keep it to the tools at this moment. Alright, now flipping back to the tools here. So we just get to see pictures of the tools of the trade, LL. I mean, no, I'm walking through it. I'm not sure what you are seeing, but here's a strainer for intake. This is what I use on the hose when I'm draining out the water for like the shrimp and baby fry. It's a stainless steel mesh that's just been pushed on the intake. It didn't quite fit, so I kind of busted the intake and squeezed it together so it did fit. Alright, and then next tool I use, this is real important. This is really good for like the calcium right here that builds up real white and whatnot. All it is just a razor blade. It's currently broke. This razor blade, I left it in the water trying to soak the oils off the razor blade too long, so it did kind of rust in it. They're cheap, so I'm just going to buy another one. But this is very handy. Like, I use this scraper here. These are the scrapers I normally use for like light work, actually heavier work. Like say this lighter work is harder to get off with this, and it's easier to do with that razor blade. But like this heavy stuff right here, where I've totally neglected this tank, like everybody does great in there, but this would scrape off easier with this. But this is great for the hard stuff. You get a good clean with one of these. Alcohol will take the oils off quickly, the Nerdy Fish says. That's a good idea. That's a real good idea. I like that idea. Yeah, it dries fast. One more spin, Lucas. We need to see the rainbow tank. Slow it down for you. Yeah, I about started off with these guys. Yeah, got that ADHD kicking in on me again. Okay, back to these. And then this is one final tool. Well, not final tool. I got more to show you guys. But I use this for when I'm shipping or when I'm trying to take endlers out. What I'll do is I'll get a net, I'll net a bunch out of there, and I use this to kind of scoop which ones I want as far as the endlers. Because a lot of times I gotta separate the males or separate a pair, and that just makes my life a lot easier than trying to net a single one. Then on to containers. These are real handy. I'm sure a lot of you guys seen these. Lots of fish stores use them. I use these a lot for like fish that are coming in new. That way I can really observe them. That's the most time I use those. But when I go to catch fish and stuff, this is what I normally use. Or if like shrimp are coming in, I've got all these little deli cups. Since I use these plastic lids to deflect water right here, these plastic lids I use, those are from deli cups. So I've got all the deli cups left from those lids, and I use those as containers, which is great because I can do 6 and 6, and then I can carry 12 at a time if I need to. That's really handy. And then a pitcher, 2 liter, or a regular pitcher. You sell those containers, the hang-ons. I'm not sure what you're... Oh, no, I don't sell these. But I do. That brings up a good point. I have added some of the items I use on my website. And it just links you over. Like, I'm not selling it, but it links you to kind of the stuff that I use. So that way you guys will have an easy source to actually pick out stuff I use, and you can use it yourself, whatever, if you want. But I got this pitcher I use that a lot for, like, say you got I got this filter here. It's great for taking that out of the water instead of just pulling it out where all the black and mold and stuff goes into the tank. I'll put this in it, and it keeps everything confined, which is really nice. And this is good too for like fish that like to jump, like killifish and stuff. Say they're going to be in the container for a bit. They're definitely good for that. And we got the Aquascaping tools, of course. Now I don't use these a whole lot. Most I usually use is like these curved scissors and these forceps that are kind of hooked. Which a lot of the forceps will come with different types of grips. Like this one doesn't have much of a grip on it, but some of them do. They kind of got the teeth on them, which in my opinion the teeth are kind of nice. They're kind of hard to see on that. Lucas, how much do you think a good TDS meter would cost, and is there a difference between a cheap meter and expensive? This one was pretty cheap. HM is like the average price, between 10-15 bucks. I've got some on my website. It links you up to this actual one. Like I said, make it easy for you guys. And this has lasted me for years. I've had to change the batteries once, but besides that, never had to calibrate it or anything like that, and it's worked great. And then I of course got all these other tools, which like I said, I only usually use these and this. A lot of the things when I go to doing plants, I don't have time to mess with tools, so I usually go in with my hands and do it. But when you're like planting fine grasses and fine pieces, the tweezers are really handy. And this tool right here, I use this. This is like a multi-purpose tool. I don't think I've ever actually used this to move dirt around. That's essentially what they're supposed to be. I mean, I could use my finger. My finger is like as wide as that, or my hand for that, so it's easier to use my hand with that. And let's see, I've got water bottle, of course, that's always handy. This is kind of a secret sauce, which really is just Excel mixed with, actually I think it may be straight Excel. I use this to kill duckweed. Now I don't usually recommend it much because breathing it in isn't good per se, but it is good for certain things like killing duckweed if it ever gets into your aquarium room. And then I use these like these are sports bottle sprayers for my ferts. I've got some for Excel. This is my iron, my macros, or my micros, and then I've got some for potassium. Here's my Excel one. I need to find a little tip, the right size tip for this. Is it easy to calibrate meter if you need to? It is, and I'll show you. You can get solutions too. Where is it at? Yeah, like here. This is what they make. They make a standard reference solution. So you just stick it in there, and it's at a certain temperature, I guess. And that'll kind of help you calibrate it. I've never had to actually use this. How do you kill duckweed? Spray the tops? Yes, you spray the tops with that Excel and it'll kill it. And here's a shelf full of stuff I've just collected throughout time. pH down, aquarium salt. Like a lot of this stuff I don't even use. Like pretty much all of this I don't even use. All the little packets you get from tanks, I just kind of hoard it though. And then here's some secondary items I use. I use these, like, of course this is handy to have one of these syringes. Spoon helps, kind of same idea with the fish and shrimp, but I started using that bigger measuring spoon. It's worked out better. Another bigger syringe. Turkey baster, that's a good one to have. I got braider boxes and stuff like that. I've tried them. I'm not a fan of braider boxes. I'm not a fan of that kind of breeder box, and I'm not a fan of that kind of breeder box. As you guys know, I like my tanks. What is Excel? Excel is liquid carbon. I forgot all my containers are in the other room, but it's liquid carbon that Seacham makes. I got a thermometer in here, but you can tell I don't use that very often. Remote to change my lights, I don't really mess with that. Let's see, okay. And I mean, I've got all kinds of miscellaneous equipment, but that's not really stuff I use on the daily. And of course, heaters. Here's some of the other stuff. Thread, fishing line, sinkers, shims. Kind of hard to see. That's just miscellaneous aquarium items, or filter intakes, CO2 stuff. How does pH down chemically soften water as well? I've tried it and I'm not a fan. Best way to actually soften water is to use sphagnum moss. Put it in a media bag. I've tried peat moss, everything, all kinds of stuff, but sphagnum moss works miracles. It works awesome. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I was going to show you guys this too. How to? Do you have to calibrate the TDS meter at all? No, when I first got it, I did not have to calibrate it. I do have this microscope too, which I'm kind of excited to get into this sometime when I had time. Is one of those items my girl bought me for Christmas. I really wanted it at the time, like really wanted it. And then it was one of those things that just sat in a box forever, so I'm hoping it works. And it's got a TV screen on it. I think you can hook it up. So I could probably show you guys some cool stuff on that in the future. Alright, let's see. Like moss better than oak leaves for softening water. That's for... Yeah, I do. Oh yeah, here's the other... Oh no, here we go. Here's the other things I was going to show you. And then nets, of course. Now, I recently got this net. It's a little deeper. The cool thing about this is, you know how fish like to jump out of the net on you? Since this is deeper, they get trapped in it more, and it's a lot easier to catch them. Same with shrimp. But this is my favorite net. It's a little 4-incher. You can see I use it a lot. It's on the corners. But I got a net for everything, for different reasons. Then the Python, definitely a lifesaver here. Very handy to have a Python. And then the RO system. Alright, it's kicking the connection off on me since I'm walking around with you guys. Alright, so any quick questions before I hop off here? And like I said, I'll have that Q&A on Friday, 9:30, which is tomorrow, for you guys watching today. And, yeah, then you guys can ask all the other questions about anything else besides what we're kind of covering right now. Distilled water is a good way to check your TDS, for sure, to calibrate it, because usually they'll be in the low mark. That's how I really test a lot of my TDS, to be honest, is my RO system. I know my RO system will be reading low, and that kind of tells me too. Let's see, you guys are seeing my finger again in front of the camera. Alright, hit that like button, Dwayne says. I appreciate that for reminding people. I tend to forget that too. Alright, alright. Is it pretty straightforward diploma RO system? That's a good question. I'll show you guys real quick how it hooks up, and it was pretty easy. Of course, I'm going fast again, so I might kick you guys off. What type of central air do you use? Central air? I don't... Like, what's my furnace? Not sure. It's Bryant or something. Alright, is the service provider. Okay, so the RO system, the hookup of it is you have this one line right here, and it's got the fixture that goes into the sink. So all you do is screw that onto your normal fixture, and if you have like that the filter with the screen, you can screw that part off, and then you'll get to the threaded of the faucet. So you just screw that on, and then you've got one other line that comes out, and that's usually the one with the check valve here, and you just hook that up into like whatever barrel you want to put it in. So I've got that line running here all the way over, so it's nice and connected. So you only got 2 lines. It looks like a lot. It looks like it can be intimidating. I do have a video on how to do this all, and then I just plug it in because I got a booster pump. Some don't have booster pumps, you can just run it through, but since I have a booster pump, it'll run through. Alright. And let's see, my TDS meter says the TDS is 209 times 10 ppm. Is that too high for shrimp? Well, I'm not sure why it says times 10 ppm. I've never actually seen a TDS meter say times 10. I don't know if that's a normal reading or what. Mine just shows a straight number, which I'm wondering if they mean 290 for the straight number. Does it stop on its own? No, you gotta turn the water on and off. That's what starts the RO system. Alright everybody, so that does it for today's video, all the tools I use. And see you guys, some of you guys on Friday tomorrow, 9:30. Until then, peace.